Government issues offers to buy homes affected by typhoon fire. The latest development in northern Metropolis University town. And Russian President Putin set to arrive in Beijing tonight for a two-day state visit. Good evening and welcome to TVB News. Chief Executive John Lee will lead a delegation to Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan early next month. The delegation will include government officials and over 60 high-level business representatives. Lee says Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan are two vast markets in Central Asia. They are rich in natural resources, have sustained economic development, strong growth momentum, and excellent market potential. The chief executive adds as global trade relations are being reshaped, the Hong Kong SAR government's proactive exploration of the Central Asian market aims to establish new business channels for the city. He says the efforts will bring more economic benefits to the city. The government has been issuing letters of offer to homeowners affected by the Waffle Court fire. This as Chief Executive John Lee stresses authorities have already borne the risks and hopes residents can make the best decision for themselves regarding the sale or purchase of their apartments.
The government earlier proposed to purchase the ownership of Waffle Court properties, but residents interested in the offer must reply by the end of August. Chief Executive John Lee says the government has been continuously receiving replies in recent days, reiterating the long-term resettlement plan has taken into account property market prices and the trauma experienced by Waffle Court residents. He hopes residents will read the plan carefully before making their choice.
The government has taken the initiative to take the risks. That includes the uncertainty when it comes to insurance claims, as well as different legal litigations. We have also taken into account the stress that the affected families have been under.
Meanwhile, with the recent completion of the fourth round of the public hearing on the Typo fire, the CE addresses concerns of various government departments suspected of having neglected their duties. Responding to calls for the salary adjustments reflecting the quality of their performance, Lee says authorities will look further into the matter after the independent committee on the Waffle Court fire submits its report.
Chief Secretary for Administration Eric Chan is leading a delegation to Germany to gather insights for the development of the northern Metropolis University town. He stresses the project will initially follow three developmental principles, focusing on innovation and cooperation with universities and businesses outside of Hong Kong.
During his visit to RWTH Aachen University in the German state of North Rhine-Westphalia, Chief Secretary for Administration Eric Chan met with faculty members and students in one of Germany's top technical universities. Chan notes RWTH Aachen achieved its international reputation through in-depth cooperation with industries and its ability to put its research to practical use. He hopes to learn from the university's experience and apply the knowledge to the development of the Northern Metropolis University town. This is land leveling works for the 9-hectare Hengshui site chosen for the construction of the university town will be completed in about 6 months. Along with Ngaotamei and New Territories North New Town, the university town was spread across 3 sites covering some 100 hectares. Besides the 8 universities funded by the University Grants Committee, several private and post-secondary institutions have also expressed interest in setting up facilities in the area. Regarding the government's decision on which institutions get to have a spot there, Chief Secretary for Administration Eric Chan says authorities will place an emphasis on the spirit of innovation, cooperation with industries and universities overseas and from the mainland. He stresses the government does not wish universities within the town to focus primarily on theoretical subjects, but instead strengthen partnerships with practical industries. Chan also led a separate delegation to the mainland and South Korea earlier this year to visit universities to observe their operation. He believes the Northern Metropolis University town could adopt some practices such as sharing libraries, auditoriums, and research labs.
Hundreds of experts and academics attend the Global Prosperity Summit, a 2-day event organized by 3 institutions, including the Cervantes Policy Institute, founded by Executive Council convener Regina Ip. Mosinai reports.
The Global Prosperity Summit kicks off in Aberdeen today. Now in its third year, the event brings together officials, experts, and academics from across the world. In her welcoming speech, Regina Ip, the summit's founder and convener of the Executive Council, says Hong Kong remains a fitting place for dialogues amid the continuing geopolitical tensions.
Hong Kong continues to stand out as an oasis of stability, connectivity, and opportunity. Under the support of our country, China, Hong Kong remains deeply connected to global markets while benefiting from the strength, resilience, and long-term strategic planning of the Chinese economy.
Han Zhiqiang, Vice President of the China Public Diplomacy Association, delivers a keynote speech, saying China is prepared to work with different parties to promote the improvement of all countries through the Global Governance Initiative.
All countries should embrace a vision of a common, comprehensive, cooperative, and sustainable security, and resolve differences through mutual respect, dialogue, and consultation. China remains committed to peaceful development, pursue a policy of friendship and partnership with neighboring countries.
The two-day summit will feature 5 panels to address global issues, including innovative drug and aerospace development. Mosinai, TVB News.
Russian President Vladimir Putin will arrive in Beijing tonight for a 2-day state visit. In a video address, he says Russia-China relations are at an unprecedented high level. Gloria Feng reports.
Дорогие китайские друзья.
Russian President Vladimir Putin starts his video message with a greeting to his dear Chinese friends. He says he is very pleased to visit Beijing again at the invitation of his old friend, President Xi Jinping. Putin goes on to say the China-Russian friendship is built on the unified aim to pursue peace and common prosperity. Meanwhile, Putin's assistant reveals details of the 2-day visit. Foreign Minister Wang Yi will greet him upon his arrival in Beijing tonight, after which a welcoming ceremony will be held. On Wednesday, the two leaders will hold several rounds of talks touching on bilateral and global issues. Moscow says the visit was planned early on and is unrelated to U.S. President Donald Trump's recent trip to China. At a press conference this afternoon, Beijing's Ministry of Foreign Affairs welcomes Putin's state visit and says the two nations are comprehensive strategic cooperative partners. Gloria Feng, TVB News.
A second 5.2 magnitude earthquake in 21 hours hits Guangxi Zhuang Autonomous Region's Luzhou City. No deaths have been reported with the latest quake. The Hong Kong Observatory receives more than 100 local reports of tremors. Gloria Feng again.
A second earthquake hit Guangxi's Luzhou City at around 10 p.m. last night. The 5.2 magnitude quake was centered 8 kilometers beneath the surface. This follows an earlier quake that claimed the lives of 2 people. Various cities in Guangxi also reported tremors. Footage shows damage to homes in the area. Rubble is seen piling as high as 3 meters on the road. Authorities work around the clock to clear the scene and have set up 99 temporary shelters for some 4,000 people who are displaced. Supplies have been distributed to various locations to aid those in need. This as authorities are still working to clear debris from an earlier quake some 21 hours prior that also came in at 5.2 magnitude. The China Earthquake Network Center says it is unusual to see multiple 5.0 magnitude quakes hit so close together, but authorities stress it is not unheard of. While Guangxi experienced heavy rainfall in recent days, authorities say initial investigation shows no correlation between water levels or rainfall and the seismic activities. The State Council Earthquake Relief Headquarters and the Ministry of Emergency Management has activated a Level 4 emergency response Monday. Gloria Feng, TVB News.
Welcome back. A panel of experts led by the World Health Organization will meet to discuss if there are any vaccine options to help tackle a major Ebola outbreak in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda. There have been 131 suspected deaths and 500 cases linked to the outbreak of the Bundibugyo strain of Ebola, according to the WHO. The WHO and Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have both declared it a public health emergency. Tracy Furness has more.
The World Health Organization loaded medical supplies onto a plane in Kenya that is heading to the Democratic Republic of Congo. The supplies are to combat the recent outbreak of Ebola that seems to be spreading.
With regards to supplies, we're really ramping up supplies. So far, we've delivered 18 tons of emergency supplies to set up treatment centers, protect our health workers, and a lot of respiratory products as well. We are very, very pleased to have received very strong support from the UN communities.
The WHO has also sent a team of experts to the country, as the outbreak is a rare type of the virus that has already killed more than 100 people. An American doctor in Congo is among the newly confirmed cases of the virus, as WHO declares the Ebola outbreak a public health emergency of international concern.
This outbreak was reported later than it should have been reported, but it's not clear why. It began in a rural area, and then it probably spread locally for quite a while before it came to the attention of any of the health authorities. Once they became aware of the outbreak, it's not clear when they might have reported it. But what is clear is that logistics are very complicated in rural parts of Africa, and therefore delays often occur.
First identified in 1976, Ebola virus have caused dozens of outbreaks across Africa. The group of viruses that cause the disease consists of 6 known species, with 3 causing large outbreaks. The current outbreak is caused by the Bundibugyo virus, first identified in 2007 in Uganda. It is only the 3rd documented Bundibugyo outbreak on record and the largest. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
The Center for Health Protection is setting up an isolation facility in Penny's Bay to handle potential Ebola cases. The government has activated the lowest tier of the response plan in case for an outbreak of Ebola. The Center for Health Protection has strengthened health screening for air passengers arriving from Africa. CHP authorities arrived at the airport to inspect the process. While CHP says the existing Ebola outbreak hasn't developed into a pandemic, authorities say they will closely monitor the latest developments overseas to safeguard public health. The center also deploys staff to inspect the isolation facility in Penny's Bay. Individuals will receive quarantine at the site if they have contracted the disease. The last crew members of the hantavirus-stricken cruise ship disembark as officials prepare for disinfections. This wraps up the troubled journey that put international health authorities on alert. The MV Hondius was still carrying 25 crew members and 2 medical personnel when it made its final stop Monday in the Netherlands' Rotterdam. Individuals in protective suits board to assist disembarking crew and to begin disinfecting the ship. A short distance from where the ship docked, authorities have set up white containers where crew members who cannot immediately head back to their home countries will be quarantined. 2 teenage shooters opened fire at a San Diego mosque, killing 3 men before killing themselves a few blocks away. There was no specific threat made against the Islamic Center of San Diego, and authorities are investigating the attacks as a hate crime. Tracy Furness has more.
San Diego police responding to an active shooter at the Islamic Center of San Diego. The television footage showed a heavy police presence outside the mosque Monday afternoon. The mosque is in a residential neighborhood about 9 miles north of downtown San Diego. Its website says it's the largest mosque in the county and includes a school which offers courses in Arabic, Islamic studies and the Quran. Neighbors of one of the suspects were shocked.
It's unbelievable because, you know, at our age, we're 86 and 89, and he's helped us bring in our groceries. They all have. They got me a cake when I turned 80. You know, we wave, say hi.
Oh, man, I mean, it's very, very frightening to hear that, especially knowing that it's this close, you know, to where I live, only a few houses away. It's just very, very frightening to hear that, and I don't know, I just lost for words.
At a briefing, police say the suspects were found dead in a vehicle.
At about 11:43, we received a call of an active shooter at the Islamic Center. Within 4 minutes, officers arrived on scene and observed immediately 3 what appeared to be deceased victims out in front. They immediately began to deploy with an active shooter response into the mosque and adjacent school. Moments later, at the 3800 block of Hatton, officers were called to that location where they found a vehicle in the middle of the street with who we believe to be the shooters in this incident, both deceased.
The mosque's imam told a news conference that a group of non-Muslims had been touring the mosque earlier Monday to learn about the Muslim faith. A security guard for the mosque is among those killed. Local officials say the guard's actions may have prevented more killings on site. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
Cuba's President Miguel Diaz-Canel says the U.S. executive order to impose an oil blockade on the Caribbean island was immoral, illegal, and criminal. Havana has received no oil shipments since a Russian tanker brought about 2 weeks' worth for the island nation in late March. With no oil forthcoming, a cargo ship carrying humanitarian aid from Mexico and Uruguay arrived in Havana on Monday. The ship was loaded with food and personal hygiene products intended to help ease the island's deepening economic crisis. Residents say the shipment offered some relief at a time of growing hardship across the country. Meanwhile, the U.S. increased pressure on the Havana government and imposed sanctions of 9 senior officials on Monday. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is not going to set a timetable for his departure, according to his deputy David Lammy. The heavy losses for his Labour Party in the May 7 elections triggered almost a quarter of his lawmakers to call for him to resign. At least 2 of his party colleagues, Wes Streeting and Andy Burnham, are ready to battle it out to become UK's leader. But Starmer says he's not signing off yet.
I do want to fight the next election. Obviously, I recognise that after the local election results, the elections in Wales and Scotland as well, that the first task is obviously turning things around and making sure that my focus is in the right place. The last 10 days, there's been a lot of activity which hasn't been as focused, in my view, as it should have been. And I remind myself every day that I was elected into office to serve the people, to serve the country. That's what I believe in, and that's what I'll be getting on with.
Britain's King Charles III and Queen Camilla visit London's renowned Chelsea Flower Show. This year's theme is out of this world, and it transforms the affluent neighborhood into a floral extravaganza. The King is a patron of the Royal Horticultural Society, which puts on the annual event in the British capital. Florists are hard at work using blooms and buds to recreate everything from elephants and polar bears to a globe paying tribute to presenter David Attenborough's 100th birthday. Other famous faces who stroll through the Flowerline Fair include footballer David Beckham. Dame Judi Dench is seen sharing a moment with the King.
Oh, the King.
A 38-year-old air conditioner maintenance worker dies from a fall while he was performing a repair. Sources say the man wasn't wearing any safety equipment when the accident happened. The accident took place at Billionaire Avon in Kowloon City. Police received reports at around noon saying a worker was fixing an air conditioner on the 11th floor before suspected falling onto the podium on the 2nd floor. The worker was sent to Guangxi Hospital for treatment and later pronounced dead. And that's the news. Thanks for watching.